Going over to the political part podcast, you have New York governor committing to spend $50 million on illegals for legal services. Seems like leftists always like to spend our tax dollars on everything except actual taxpayers. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Benny Johnson on X, in which he said, quote, New York Governor Kathy Hochul announces that taxpayers will cover $50 million in legal services for criminal aliens in this state. No, this is not parody. Which, geez Louise, they will spend money on everything except taxpayers, I swear. And this is credited to Fox News, which is somehow still in business. I'm actually impressed. Somehow they're still around.
Nothing on New York Governor Kathy Hochul, because she's putting her money where her mouth is. She's going to spend millions of your taxpayer dollars for legal services for illegal immigrants.
Jeez.
We're also concerned about those that are walking out of this courthouse.
I'm sorry, I just had a visceral reaction. I thought that was a crypt keeper or crypt maker, crypt keeper. I don't know, that's so disgusting. I barely speak. I mean, in comparison, I'm like a Pierce Brosnan. Jeez Louise.
Taken away from their families. They don't have the attention. They don't have the lawyers. And that's why the state of New York is providing $50 million to cover legal services for people who are finding themselves in this situation.
Finding themselves in that situation? Putting themselves in that situation. They broke into the country and came here. God, it's so asinine. But again, it's also New York. I'm not surprised. And maybe that's why this didn't go as viral as I thought it would. Still think it's an important article to cover. It got 423,000 views as well as 14,000 likes. One of the first comments comes to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, is Kathy Hochul worse than Gavin Newsom? Getting 1.1 thousand likes. No, I would venture to say no. No one in the U.S. political system is worse than Gavin Newsom in terms of people in political office right now, I believe. I mean, again, California is one of the largest corrupt states on the planet, or in the U.S. Probably you could argue, there's a reason businesses and people are seemingly only moving away from California. I mean, they've lost over 180 businesses in the past 48 months, and yet I've yet to find one business that's moved to California. Yeah. Now, Barefoot Pregnant says, quote, it's not parody, it's Democrat priorities in full display. Yeah, that's true. Ginger Skull says, quote, I thought elected officials were supposed to represent and speak for us, not extort us, getting 134 likes. Yeah. The Skiff says, quote, this is what you should be protesting if you live in New York, getting 159 likes. Yeah. You have Teich Bets, which is hilariously a business for gambling, and they're making political comments. All right. He says, quote, and give taxpayer money to lawyers. There's a picture of a bunch of tattooed folks and says, to be clear, these are the people Democrats are trying to save from deportation. Getting 53 likes. Bulldog has a picture of Los Angeles on fire with the guy holding the Mexican flag. And the meme says, quote, remember, the Democrat commies must not let their price illegals, even criminals, be deported. Why? Because the next Democrat president will legalize all of them, make them Democrat voters, then turn the background shades blue. This is all about voting and creating a permanent blue socialist society. Getting 55 likes. Now, he says the Democrat, but guess what? Ronald Reagan was the first guy who started the domino effect of Democrats doing this. He did he did a huge amnesty, which destroyed California, I would argue. It was one of the last bills when California was still red, was voting, should we use tax dollars for illegals? In which, of course, they all said, oh yeah, after amnesty, they all said, oh yeah, we can use that money for them. And California has been blue ever since. Going down more and more. Ken simply says, shame on you, Kathy Hochul, getting 19 likes. Not any contrarian comments thus far. Chad Canton says New Yorkers are retarded living under this trick, getting 55 likes. Eric Dweller says she's disgusting, and there's a juxtaposition of two pictures. One of, who's that guy from the Goonies? Started with the G, I'm pretty sure, but it's the deformed guy from the Goonies, and they photoshopped her face to look slightly worse than usual, getting 35 likes. Florida 1 says, I feel really sorry for all the good conservative people in these blue states. Just a helpless feeling watching their governors destroy their state, getting 107 likes. You also have Citizen Caller says, how is this not a violation of her oath of office and treason against the United States? She's literally giving aid and comfort to the enemies of New York State and the country. 171 likes. Yeah. Giving away taxpayer resources to people who have not paid taxes. Yeah. Yep. But remember, New York as a brand. It'll be interesting to see if New York ever really changes their voting patterns or elects someone with intelligence or morality. Again, in terms of legal defenses, if you're a lawyer in New York, you want to volunteer, sure, that's your right. You can volunteer whatever you want with your time. But yeah, to have taxpayer dollars paying for their defense, that's just ridiculous. But let me know in the comments, because it's always be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.